So next we are going to hear from Andrew Horn, who is a social entrepreneur and also a social media expert, and see what he's doing now with social media and healthcare. So with that, I will introduce Andrew.
Hey guys. Let's give it up for Micah. That was great.
Well, thank you, Andrew. We go way back to the hallway.
To the hallway. Do you need to turn this on, or can you guys hear me? Yep. Fantastic. How are we doing today? Did we get over the lunch kind of like lethargy? We're good. Perfect. All right. So you guys, I'm going to make you a promise before we dig into the talk today. I want to talk about transforming patient care with gratitude and technology innovation. But before we dive in, I want to tell you that I'm not going to stand up here for 20 minutes and go through a bunch of slides and statistics. What I am going to do is I'm going to tell you two stories about how we started our business, how we got involved in the healthcare industry. I'm going to couch everything that we do in some of the most compelling research about gratitude and how it can transform our health and happiness. And most importantly, I'm going to couch everything that we talk about here today in systems that you can use when you walk out this room, when you go back to your place of work tomorrow. How does that sound? All right. Well, let's rock and roll. So, to tell you about my path to gratitude, I have to tell you about a gift that I received 3 years ago. It was a gift that I received from this little cutie right here. That is my new fiance, Mickey. So she decided to do something really special. So about a week before my birthday, she sent an email out to these people, some of my best friends in New York City. And in that email, she asked each of them to send her a 1-minute video. A 1-minute video telling me why they loved me or how I'd impacted their life. She's a pretty good girlfriend, right? And so, on the night of my birthday, I basically go out to dinner with Mickey, I go back to our house, we swing the door open, and then on the count of 3, 2, 1, all these people jump out. Surprise party at the apartment, hugging, having an amazing time. Halfway through that party, Mickey gets into the kitchen, sits on the kitchen counter, she says, "Everyone in the living room!" And everyone kind of scurries over into our living room, they sit down, she looks at me and she says, "You, in the back." And I was like, all right, got it. So I'm sitting in the back of the room, I'm looking at her, no idea what's going on. She runs into the bedroom, she grabs a projector, she puts it out, puts this big picture up on the wall. And I'm like, what's happening? And she hits play. And one after one, these videos she collected start to stream across the stream. My mom telling me how much she loves me. My dad telling me how proud of me he is. My friend Matthew calling me his best friend for the first time ever. In that moment, New York City tough guy sitting in the back of the room, what do you think I'm doing? I'm bawling my eyes out. And I did that for the next 15 minutes. I was overwhelmed with joy and connection to this experience. And that was the moment that I had my first thought, and I realized to myself, I just experienced my eulogy at 27. And then I had the second thought, and so that's a damn better time to receive your eulogy. So, me being the entrepreneur that I was, I talked to Mickey and I say, how'd you do this? And she looks back at me and she says, well, it kind of sucked. She said 15 hours of emailing hundreds of times, collecting videos through Dropbox and Drive and text message, and editing all together in iMovie. So I'd started a technology company before this and several nonprofits, and the entrepreneur in me said, it should not be this difficult to create the most meaningful gift on the earth. So we created Tribute. And Tribute is our technology platform that automates the process of building one of these gratitude-filled montages. Our website takes this 15-hour process and automates it down to 15 minutes so that anyone can experience it. And what started as a company just to help other people experience the joy that I felt in that room has scaled pretty significantly. Over the past 2 years, we've given more than 25,000 tributes in more than 30 countries. And our mission has expanded to this. As a company, we exist to spread gratitude in the world. And I want to tell you exactly why we think that that's important, because there's a lot of really important causes to get behind on this planet. So what is gratitude? Gratitude, simply said, is the state of being thankful. It's the state of being thankful. We can be grateful about people, places, things. It can be intangible, tangible. We can be grateful about the past, the present, or something that we don't often think about is we can be grateful for the future. Optimism is gratitude. And one of my favorite quotes about gratitude is that gratitude is the quickest path to happiness. And we believe that. And when people are happier, people are healthier. And sometimes gratitude has a PR problem. It's a little woo-woo, right? So when I started working with some of the companies like St. Mary's and Northwell and the Cleveland Clinic, we said, well, we got to put some science behind that. So we started to look into some of the compelling research that all sorts of universities, hospitals are doing on gratitude. Some of the amazing stuff that we've looked at here is simply practicing gratitude heightens our immune system and white blood cells to fight disease, can decrease stress hormones like cortisol by up to 23%, decreases heart rate variability, decreases someone's likelihood of smoking, makes people more than 30% more likely to go to the gym. Simply practicing gratitude is keeping our bodies healthy. What about our emotional state? What about our minds? Same thing. Practicing gratitude improves our self-esteem, improves our resilience, ability to deal with trauma, lowers risk of depression, heightens states of empathy. It's allowing us to deal with psychological trauma more effectively. And one of my bonus ones, being a humanitarian, a social entrepreneur, is that it literally makes the world a little better. Because when people practice gratitude, what they have tends to become enough. And when people have enough, what do? They give back. People who practice gratitude oftentimes give up to 20% more to charity. They tend to have more connections in their local communities. So, what I talked about earlier is that everything we do today is going to be grounded in systems, things that we can take back to our place of work and to our personal lives. And so there is technology that's available to really systemize this and turn it into a habit. Because we always default back to our habits, not our actions. Habits are how we truly change our lives and the lives of the people that we serve. And so the first way we can do that is with technology. Two amazing companies I'm going to recommend: the Gratitude app, which simply prompts you every single day. 3 times a day, it's going to prompt you, what's one thing you're grateful for right now? $2.99 in the App Store. One of my favorites, the one that I use, is called Humanized. Get Humanized. Sends you an email every single morning. What's one thing you're grateful for? Helps you establish a gratitude journal for yourself, completely free. Or, this is probably the simplest, most effective thing I've ever done to increase my own happiness, and that is the gratitude meditation. For me, when you wake up in the morning, when you go to sleep at night, you're going to simply tell yourself, what are 3 things that I'm grateful for? What are 3 things that I'm looking forward to? Before you do anything that day, you sandwich yourself between all the beauty in the world and everything that you're excited about. And again, that's not some gratitude, happiness, woo-woo stuff. If you're aware of the beauty of the world, all the great stuff that you have, good things that are to come, are you going to be more content? Are you going to be more calm? Are you going to be more present with the people you're dealing with? Absolutely. And so one thing that I want to invite everyone here to do, we've got notepads, we have phones in front of us, and I'm going to do it up on the stage, is let's envelop this entire room in a little bit of gratitude. So that gratitude meditation, let's start right here. 3 things that you're grateful for right now. Let's write those down. It could be family. It could be a coworker. It could be something that's happened recently. Did your football team win? Did you spend time in nature? Did you get something free at a store? 3 things that you're grateful for. $60 seconds. So 3 things that you're grateful for, and also 3 things that you're looking forward to, which is a really beautiful thing to practice that I think is oftentimes neglected when we think about gratitude. What's coming up in the future that we're looking forward to? 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things I'm looking forward to. While you're writing, I'll just dig in. I'm grateful for my fiance, who bought me dinner last night. I'm grateful that the train is such an amazing way for me to get down here from New York. I'm grateful that I get to go to the beach this weekend. What am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to a surf trip over New Year's. I'm looking forward to seeing a good friend at Teddy Roosevelt Island later this evening. I'm grateful that I get to speak to healthcare professionals about really important topics like this. All right, can we just do like quickly, give me one thing you're grateful for? Who wants to shout it out? Who wants to be a part of it? What are you grateful for?
I connected with an old friend that we both worked in Colorado, and then I found out she's here.
Amazing.
I am, and we connected today.
Beautiful.
Even better than
Grateful for friendship, for connection. What else? Right here.
My coworker calling me, waking me up this morning.
There you go. Grateful for good coworkers. Let's do it. How about one more?
My 20-year-old daughter cleaned the first floor of my house.
Yes, there you go. Good daughter. How about one more? Who's got one more? How about over here? Right here.
I'm going home.
Yes. Where's home?
I never get to go home.
There you go. Missouri. I love it. So there we go. And a lot of people have actually done research about the gratitude journal, the daily gratitude practice, and studies have shown that it can make you up to 25% happier. One of my favorite quotes on this topic is one that comes from Tony Robbins, and he says, if you don't have time for gratitude, you don't have time for happiness. And you guys, this is 60 seconds. The mentality of achievement, the mentality of acquisition is one that is latent in our society. But if we're always looking for more, when we get what we want, guess what happens? We just want more. So if we're not acknowledging the beauty of what we have, how much is abundant and around us all the time, we're not going to be as happy as we can be. So that's why gratitude is an important thing that we really want to spread around the world. So what does this have to do with patience, you might be thinking at this time? And to tell you what this has to do with patience, I have to introduce you to an incredible guy named Felipe. So Felipe is a father of 3. He's a husband. And we got introduced to Felipe 2 years ago. My friend Lauren called me and she says, Andrew, my friend Felipe just got diagnosed with cancer in his leg. I'm on the other side of the country. Can you help? And with Felipe's permission, I'm going to show you what happened next. Oh, can we get audio? I got a message in my inbox. I opened it. It was from Felipe. And this is what it said. I'm speechless that you put this whole thing together. Thank you so much. For lack of better words, I'm just, wow. I'm just, thank you. This is amazing. As I sat in our Brooklyn office, I realized in that moment that Felipe had experienced the same type of transcendent joy and connection to his community that I felt in the back of my apartment. And then I had my second thought, which is how powerful could this experience be for any patient who's in the midst of a difficult medical journey? And so we resolved to start our Give Tribute program. So now what we do is we partner with hospitals like the Cleveland Clinic, St. Mary's, Northwell, and we offer tribute services completely free of charge so that any patient can receive a tribute like this from their community in a time of need. And so after my talk today, I have 150 free tribute cards, so you guys can give your first tribute on the house. And I also have some documents about the Give Tribute program. So you can come and grab those during the break, the coffee break, if any of you are interested in bringing that back to your hospital. And our program and everything we do is couched in this truth, is that connecting patients to their community of supporters is vital for health and healing. And again, the research backs this up, is that people who have strong social ties have fewer cardiovascular immune issues, lower levels of stress. It's been tied to a positive mental attitude, which can positively imprint our perception of service. And this one is on its own slide for a reason. Harvard just released their research from a 75-year study with 750 people. Dr. Waldinger, front and center in that report, said this: the clearest message we got from this study is that good relationships keep us happier and healthier. And it deserves repeating. Good relationships keep us happier and healthier. So if we can acknowledge that social ties are central to our health and to our healing, then we also need to acknowledge that sharing our gratitude for people is one of the most effective communication tools that we have to reinforce these social ties. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. So when people are telling Felipe why they love him, the impact he's had on their life, when Felipe is in that desperate situation, when he's in that trying spot, it allows him to see his own worth, to see his own value, because it's being mirrored back to him. When you can give that gift to someone like Felipe, they value your friendship, your connection even more. Second, for the gratitude giver, for those people who are articulating why they care about Felipe, why they want to be there, it's magnifying their own understanding and appreciation of that love, of that connection. It's increasing the odds that they're going to show up, that they will support that person. And one of the most beautiful aspects of sharing our gratitude is something that we call the gratitude loop. And studies have shown this, that when Felipe receives that tribute, when he receives those thanks, those appreciation, he's statistically more likely to not only reciprocate that with the people who said that they loved him, that they're there for him, but he's more likely to reciprocate that with anyone in his wider community. So at a hospital, that could be a nurse, that could be a doctor. When we share our gratitude, it's creating this never-ending upward spiral of gratitude. How beautiful is that? And again, everything we talk about today is grounded in strategies that you can bring back to your lives, to your hospitals. And so at Tribute, we've created 2 communication techniques that I want to give you guys now. And the first one is called the power of the prompt. I was talking with some people out in the hallway about this before. I asked them, how often do you guys share your gratitude for your coworkers? And they're like, not as much as we should. And the reality is that telling someone why you love them, telling someone that you appreciate them, can sometimes be an anxious thing. We don't know if they're going to be uncomfortable. We don't know if it's appropriate. And when we don't know what to say, we don't figure it out. We don't say it at all. And that's the worst thing we can do. So when people are prompted to send a video to Felipe, we don't say, tell Felipe you love him. We say, why do you love Felipe? We say, how are you going to support Felipe? So what we do is we ask them a question. Now they have an innate emotional answer to that. But also, you unify the conversation. So now everyone in that community knows that this kind of emotional response is accepted and celebrated. The power of the prompt will help you to share emotional, appreciative language. The next one is not, I love you. I love you is probably one of the most powerful statements in our language. But the thing is, and the reality of this statement, is that sometimes it gets conditioned into thoughtlessness. It's automatic. We say it every day. So what we've come up with here has been inspired by a man named Robert Cialdini, who wrote a book called Influence, one of the seminal books on persuasion and communication. And what he says is that it is not our statement of affection that influences and impacts the recipient. It is our explanation of it that impacts the recipient. So it's not I love you, it's I love you because. And you can play with this one the second you go home with your loved ones, with your kids. The difference between I love you and I love you because is that I love you because has a qualifier. It evolves, it changes. Adding the word because forces a level of thoughtfulness and authenticity that allows the recipient to see that you're not just kicking a can down the road, you've really put some thought into this. You mean it. One little word will transform the way you communicate gratitude. I love you because. So those are communication techniques that are going to allow you to share gratitude, connect deeper in your important relationships. And a lot of people are talking about the importance of community in healing. Here's a video from the U.S. Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy. Oh, I can go back. Can you get sound? I'm not hearing sound, guys. I haven't remembered it word for word, so I can't do it for you guys. You guys tell me. I'm awaiting a thumbs up, or I can kind of skip it for the time being. Should I just go ahead and skip it? So you guys, one of the things that the U.S. Surgeon General says in this talk, the core idea is that healthcare cannot be a solo journey. Healthcare is a team sport. You think about when you're trying to lose weight, when you're trying to heal from an illness. is it is our community that allows us and keeps us basically accountable for that growth, for that consistency, for that discipline. And the reason why he says that this is so important is because of an endemic called patient isolation. Is again, as we look at some of these things, is that weak social ties have been attributed to a cellular chain reaction that increases inflammation, suppresses the body's immune response, linked to pessimism, which can negatively impact our perceptions of care. And one of the wildest stats that we've come up with recently is this one, is that weak social ties can be as harmful to ongoing health as alcoholism and twice as harmful as obesity. So patient isolation is a big deal and something that, as he talks about in that talk, can we alleviate patient isolation with technology? One of the biggest challenges in healthcare. And what I wanted to do today is to offer some technology recommendations that are 100% free that you can recommend to your patients. And so some of the ones that we want to talk about, we've already discussed Tribute, how you can work with us. One of the best ones that I want to bring forth is an organization called CaringBridge, I think many of you probably know about. And so one of the things is that when we talk about social media, a lot of times people are communicating through these channels after an injury, after an illness, after a major operation. But it's very difficult to be real on social media. Oftentimes we get the highlight reel. What CaringBridge does is it provides an authentic channel for a patient and their family to communicate about their medical journey, to ask for support, to offer updates in a safe, private environment where people can connect with them. Beautiful platform, love what they're doing. Another one, and something that's true with support in the digital era, is that it often takes the form of fundraising. People supporting people by paying their medical bills, other things that come about from injury, illness. And so there's an organization called Indiegogo, the largest crowdfunding platform in the world. They recently launched a platform called Generosity, which is 100% free of charge for anyone who's raising money for an individual in the midst of a difficult medical journey. So there's no fees associated with Generosity, one of the most beautiful tools on the internet. So one of my favorites is a company called Bond, and we know this from the industry that we're in, but greeting cards are going away every single year, for better or for worse. Our generation is not as fond of handwriting as ones before us. So Bond automates the process of actual pen, quill pen handwriting. So it will mimic your handwriting. You can automate it from a phone, and it will send a machine handwritten card to anyone who's there. So I've recommended this one a lot of places, and people have enjoyed it. So those are some of the technology recommendations that we've leveraged that can allow you to connect your patients with their communities in a meaningful way. So we've talked about how to cultivate gratitude in our own lives. We've talked about how to infuse our communication with gratitude. We've talked about how to connect our patients with their community with technology. And I'm excited to leave you guys with this thought, and that is that if we want to take care of our patients, we need to take care of each other. We need to take care of our physicians, of our nurses, of our employees. And the reality of patient care is that it's difficult. Tate Shanafelt at the Mayo Clinic, one of the leading researchers on physician burnout. Recent studies showed that more than 50% of physicians were reporting at least one system of burnout. And if we're burnt out, it's going to be very difficult for us to give the best care possible. And I don't want to be naive about this because I know that burnout is a symptom of very real systemic things. Pay shortages, staff shortages, communication inefficiencies. A lot of times things that are outside of the purview or our control. But I want to tell you one way that we can combat burnout. And simply put, it's with gratitude. And there's a lot of beautiful research and studies that have been coming out about the power of gratitude and thanks in the workplace. One of my favorites from Adam Grant, Francesca Gino. A thank you from a supervisor gives people a strong sense of both self-worth and self-efficacy. The expression of gratitude has a spillover effect. Individuals become more trusting with each other and more likely to help each other out. In a National Templeton survey, almost all respondents, literally all, said that saying thank you to colleagues made employees happier and more fulfilled. And a recent study at Wharton was showing that simple pep talks, words of gratitude, was increasing the productivity of fundraising professionals by 50%. This is simply sharing our appreciation, sharing our gratitude. This is the impact that it can have in the workplace. But the reality is that we do not share it as often as we should be. And why? We call it the vicious cycle of ingratitude. 60% of employees said they never express gratitude at work or do so perhaps once a year. 35% of respondents believe that expressing any gratitude could lead to coworkers taking advantage of them. And supervisors often tend to feel that gratitude that's coming to them is inauthentic, which leads them to not reciprocate or give it back. And when that's systemic, when it starts at the top, when our leaders aren't expressing gratitude, we can't expect our employees to express that kind of behavior. And so what I want to do right now is talk about how we can build a culture of gratitude. What are the things that we can bring back on a personal level, on an organization level? And there are 3 really simple things. And the first is to talk about systemizing our gratitude. Our organizations are only as good as the systems we have in place to do them consistently. We really believe this. And again, as leaders in our organization, we can do this in structured and unstructured ways. When we have meetings, whether they're weekly, whether they're monthly, the simple act of opening and setting a platform for people to share their props with one another. At the end of a weekly meeting, at the end of a monthly meeting, who's going to be the person who says these little words? Is there anyone you want to shout out who's done really great work? Is there anyone who's really showed up for you? Those simple words set the stage, empower people, show them that type of communication is celebrated, is appropriate. It's only a few words, but transforms those meetings and people's ability to share gratitude. The next is set up systems. I don't know if you guys are using internal messaging networks or Slack, but actually setting up a channel where people can go, and it's called the gratitude wall. I know so many startups are doing the same thing, and it's just called props. It's called gratitude. People go to that channel to shout out people who are doing amazing work. I know physical workspaces that have a gratitude wall. They bought a cutout on Amazon for $30. They put Post-its on it. It's a physical reminder to everyone who's there that we celebrate people doing great work, showing up every single day. And now there's technology that allows us to do this. Companies like Growbot behavior before we do it ourselves. Is that if we want to be leaders in our organizations, it's important that we appreciate how we want to be. And if this is something that you believe in after seeing some of the research, you need to be the catalyst. And it is so simple. You feel these things all the time. It's just a matter of giving a voice to them. And research backs this up. 93% of people felt that bosses who express gratitude are going to be more successful. And I'm going to leave you with one thought. Do you guys remember this? Oh, we don't have time for that, so I'm going to go to this. Who remembers this saying when we were kids? If you don't have anything nice to say, all right. Well, we've been looking at that saying for 2 years now, and we realized that it becomes much more powerful when you remove 3 words from it. You ready? Now what does it say? If you have anything nice to say, say it all. If you've seen the front desk worker who always has a smile on her face, say it all. If you've seen the nurse that's going the extra mile with that patient, say it all. If you've seen the doctor who's working overtime, say it all. That simple thing will transform the way you connect with people, the way your workplace operates. If you have anything nice to say, say it all. Thank you.